Thank you, Senator Muda. Senator Samuda. Senator Lambert Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know how this bill will save lives, given that it deals with a period that is past. But then again, it is the nature of the government to say nice things, to say things that people feel good about, but in reality, nothing happens. So if it says it will save life, then it has the go-bell effects. Keep repeating it. Doesn't make it true. Mr. President, when I first saw this bill to be taken today, an act to amend the Road Traffic Reprieve and Nullification of Prescribed Notices Act, I said, well, let me see if there's any change this week from last week. Because last week, we passed this earth-shaking bill to change the enactment clause. And when I look at this bill this year, and the bill last year, the act last year that is changing, it has the same enactment clause. And for the public purpose, let's read what the enactment clause says. Be it enacted by the King's most excellent majesty.
One minute. No, Senator Brown.
What?
You know that you
No, President, let me
No, because you see you're talking no. You're talking about I'm addressing you. You're talking about the enactment clause. And you're on yes, because he's on social media with it, you know. He's not here, so alone him talk about it, you know. Same write a thing on social media and say, wait until I come here to deal with it. And you say yes, he write it on social media and say, watch me and then. I'm not saying anything illegal, but I'm not doing anything illegal, but I'm pointing out to the public. Section 61 of the Constitution of Jamaica says, a bill shall not become law until the Governor General.
You finished, President?
I am about truth and informing the public, not misleading people. Well, I am participating in it.
President,
I am participating in it because I am participating in it because it relates to the Senate. No. A bill. Yes, I did. A bill shall not become law until the Governor General has assented thereto in Her Majesty's name and on Her Majesty's behalf, and has signed it in token of such assent. The bill that was passed to change the relevant clause has not been consented to by the Governor General, and that is why the bill that you are having in your hand here has the whole enactment clause. So you go on social media and mislead the entire 80 people that follow you, and you come here with it this morning.
Now I'm going to ask your pardon as I read for you what it was that Lambert Brown actually said on the 21st of July. This is the only comment I could find on his page relating to the matter of the enactment law. So I'll read it and then you can tell whether or not Tavares Finson, President of the Senate, was accurate in what he said or quoted from what he claimed was what Lambert Brown said. That's the first thing. And I'll read for you and then you can say whether or not he is totally misunderstanding what Lambert said or he's somewhere near to what Lambert said. So let me read it and then you decide and put in the comments whether or not you think Tavares Finson got it all wrong or he was just mistaken. So Lambert said on the 21st of July If all you say is true, can you explain why next Friday the Senate will debate two bills with the same words, keeping the king in our laws? Every law passed by Parliament under this government will still be assented to by the Governor General on behalf of the king. Try and deny that. So what was it that he was responding to? It was Dana Dixon, Senator Dana Dixon, saying something about the bill. Good news she was bringing to the Jamaican people. No longer will we be enacting bills in the name of the king. And he was responding to that and said, all right, you say it's good news. You'd explain to me why next week we're going to be using the same words. And then he went on to say, as a matter of fact, no matter what you enact, the Governor General still have to assent to the laws in the name of the king or on behalf of the king. That's what he's saying. But if I may butt in a bit, so to speak, I would have to say that Lambert is not making any sense, because a bill cannot be law, whatever is written, whatever they pass in the Senate or in the House of Representatives. It cannot be law unless the Governor General assented to it. So any bill that is coming before them will have to have the old enactment law. And that makes perfect sense. So I don't know what is the relevance of asking this idiotic question as to why it is that it will happen. Lambert knows. And every time the speaker is trying to explain, right, they keep cutting him off. Like they don't want him to say what he needs to say. Now, for me, this is just a non-argument. It should not have been an argument in the first place. Of course, it was exacerbated by the speaker himself seemingly to add words to what it was that Lambert said. I don't know if somebody told him or he read it once and just didn't get what the man was saying, right? Lambert was really trying to make a non-point. And the speaker went and added some provocative words. It caused the uproar, and then you will see now what happened.
I'm not speaking to you, Senator Sinclair. With the greatest of respect, Mr. President. Mr. President, from my understanding of the role of the President of the Senate, he is supposed to be the mediator, the umpire, who is impartial and not participating in the debate in the Senate. That is why we have 20 members inside the Senate to participate in that cut and thrust of the debate. The fact of the matter is that the President has to be that guiding hand that you have been doing, Mr. President, rather than interfering in the debate. Let Cavan Gale or Mr. Sinclair get involved in that. So don't engage in that, Mr. President.
What I'm engaging in.
You don't know better.
What?
You're a political.
What I'm in. No. I'm addressing Senator Morris. What do you mean no? No. I'm addressing Senator Morris's. I'm addressing what Senator Morris had to say. Senator Morris, the difference that is happening here, I'm not involving myself in a debate, You are having a member who is speaking to the process of the Parliament and the Constitution. It's not a question open for debate. And I see on social media, I'm right,
That's not true. You're lying, President. You're lying.
And then now he's coming to say that you passed legislation last week, but yet still let the bills are not changed. The bill has not been assented to by the Governor General. And since you said that I'm a liar, right, I don't have an issue with that. So next speaker, because I'm not hearing you.
And parliamentary rule, which is a free fall, can you shut that for language university? I remember where you are. Have a good day. Try to get back. Try to get back after 3 o'clock. Come on.
I don't know to what extent we can feel real bad for Mr. Bunting, for Senator Bunting. But the man has problems. So if he's a little touchy, one can understand what with proven not doing so hot as it should. And apparently people are finding out. And then there is a problem with Mark. Mess up the whole thing. 650 million looks like it's going down the drain. Because him not have no seat. And it's only a matter of time. I don't understand how nobody no care Mark to court yet, But it's only a matter of time before somebody take him to court or have him pitched out of the parliament. Well, he will only be pitched out of the parliament until such time when a by-election is called, presuming and assuming that his renunciation is complete. Okay, so that's the preliminary. I want to welcome everyone to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me. I started a little different this time. Always try to be a little different each time. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're my loyal supporters and my loyal subscriber and my loyal listeners, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for your support, your continued support, your sharing the video, liking the video, as well as leaving your comments. I do appreciate it, and I love you all to pieces. So, I'm bringing to you, because I know you must have been waiting to hear what me have to say about Mr. Bunting's performance in the Senate. And I'll be more than happy to give you my opinion, because my name is Jamaican, and we Jamaicans will love to express your opinion about everything. But before I do, if you have not yet subscribed, just look to the bottom of the video to the right. You see that word that says subscribe. Just press that subscribe button for me, please. I'm waiting for you. Okay, you've subscribed? Great. All right, let's get on with it then. And I appreciate it. It is difficult to begin to describe or to say where blame is to lie in regards to what happened in the Senate on Friday with the opposition senators walking out. Perhaps the first place to start is with Lambert's comment on Twitter, or what is now being called X, responding to the government's upbeat about the passage of this enactment law, the new enactment law, which is to take effect soon in Jamaica. Lambert was saying they should come out and explain why it is that next Friday, which was that Friday when they had the cascas and the blowout and the walkout, yes, they were to come and explain why it is that those two bills will have the same enactment clause as it has had before. Now, of course, he got up and he wanted it to be read into the record, saying that they came to the parliament with much fanfare about this bill, and here we are now reading the same old enactment, and he started to read what it said about if I recall the words well, be in it enacted in His Majesty most, and so on and so forth. He started to read it. Now, for me, he was trying to score cheap political points because he ought to know, unless I know he doesn't appear to be well. I think he's not well, so maybe he's not, as up to it as he used to be and as sharp as we know Lammy can be. But if he is as sharp as ever, then he was trying to score cheap political points by claiming that they are out there, creating this excitement about the new enactment. And here it is. We are going to read 2 laws with the old enactment. He ought to know that every single law that is passed in the Senate, in the lower house, in the Senate, has to be assented by the Governor General and gazetted before it becomes law. So if he came to the Parliament and the others the week before to pass a law, and the following week the enactment remains the same, meaning the law did not take effect at the time when the bill was prepared, then common sense would suggest, right, that the Governor General has not assented to it. If the Governor General had assented to it and it was gazetted, then the new enactment would have been in the 2 bills. So what Lambert was trying to do is to mislead the public in thinking that the law that they had passed to amend the Enactment Act, or whatever they want to call it, to put in the new version where we're no longer, or they are no longer passing the law using the name of the king, but rather the Parliament, right? And that, of course, is supposed to be, how should I put it, our first step in the march towards becoming a republic. And this is why the government side was creating so much excitement about it. But what Lammy was trying to do is to throw some cold water on it. And in doing so, the speaker cut him off and stated what it was, or tried to explain why it is that the new enactment clause is not in the new bills. And to me, it was unnecessary for him to even have referred to the Twitter statement. And even if he did, he should have just said what he said at first and don't add anything else to it. And that was what caused Lambert to be trying to say to him that is not true. And he would not allow him to speak. And then he continued by adding some more words that Lambert did not say, in which case Lambert then said he was lying. And of course, that was very unparliamentary speak. So the speaker, or Mr. President, got vexed and told him he will not hear him. Now, which means that Mr. President's words, which were not true, the words that he claimed that Lambert said, wait until I come to the Parliament, that was not true. That is the last thing that would have been left in the record for all Jamaica to hear. And Lambert had to then resort to his, what the president said, 80 people. He would have to resort to his 80 people to try and get the whole of Jamaica to know he never said any such thing. So, of course, it frustrated the other side. Mr. Bunting, though, him jump up on his feet and didn't even try to argue and didn't even try to reason with the speaker as to, and so on. Him decides I'm going to jump up and cuss them off over there, tell him to shut up and whatever else they claim that he said. This is alleged to be taken from Hansard. That is the record keeping. They keep the record in the Parliament. Anything that they say in the Parliament is recorded and written down as written. They call it Hansard. You hear them always talk about this Hansard. This is it. And it is said that Bunting rose, you can turn off the mic, all your blood, and they never hear what I'm saying, all your blood blank want, inaudible. We will not accept that. We will not accept that. And then he said some other things that they didn't hear what he said. To which Mr. Sinclair jumped up and said, you think it's a free-for-all? You can't use that type of language to the president. And Bunting said, shut your mouth. And then they says, Mr. Brown, which is Lambert, said something which they didn't hear, I suppose. Then Fitzhenley said, "Control yourself, man. Remember where you are." And then the opposition walked out of the chamber. The president next said, "Next speaker." Now I guess they want Mr. Bunting to apologize for the use of the blood blank. They think they heard what he said. But since they said that what he actually said after he said blood was inaudible, it could be anything. He might have said the blood of Jesus is against you. So if they didn't hear what the man said and Hansard didn't pick it up, that's that. But for me, as I said before, sympathies on Mr. Bunting, that he's a little touchy these days. We can understand why. At least I can. I mean, given the issues at Proven Investments, I think it's now called Proven Group Limited, with his, not only with Proven itself, I mean, Proven Investments Limited, Proven Group Limited is now the umbrella group for the subsidiaries. They are managing it. And they made a loss last year. They made something of a profit this year. But when you look at it, I mean, last year, they declared that the share of profits of the associates, that's the other companies that are within the group, amounted to 8,000, I beg your pardon, let me read that again, amounted to $8,481,000 US. But when they went through it again, I don't know if it's the auditors, and they were adjusted, right? The audited report was restated that what actually came from the associates was $1,152,000. That's a dramatic drop, an adjustment of $7.3 million. That's amazing. The loss for the year had increased from what they reported in March 31, 2023 of 5.3 million US to 12.6 million US. That's an upward, or I should say downward adjustment of 7.3. How could they have gotten it so wrong? What is amazing also is the fact that $7.3 million they had stated as profits from the associates were in fact losses, as their cash flow states. More than that, it says here, where it says 36, segment financial information, the group is organized into 5 main business segments. You have the wealth management. This incorporates financial and related services such as securities brokering, stock brokering, portfolio planning, and funds management. They are talking about JMB. Then you have the retail lending, which would be Access Financial Services. It says this incorporates personal and non-personal banking services. Private banking would be those companies that are banks in St. Lucia and Cayman. The 2 banks that they have would come under the private banking. And it explains, it says, these are the auditor's notes. This incorporates banking services, deposit accounts, credit and debit cards, and cash collateralized lending. The real estate and other. The real estate now would be the Proven real estate that's building all those lovely buildings you see them have in Kingston, at Braemar, in St. Anne, in Mandeville, and of course I believe that there's a big complex in Spanish Town. I don't know why they haven't mentioned it. Maybe it was sold out already. And then they say this incorporates real estate investment, real estate development for residential and commercial purposes, and other non-trading subsidiaries. And then you have the production and distribution. They have 2 companies, one in Barbados. I'm not quite sure if where the other one is, but the one in Barbados is a manufacturing company. Can't remember the name now. We'll soon see it. And then there is another feed company. that does manufacturing. And it says here, this incorporates the production and distribution of animal feed, dog food, margarine and shortening, soybean meal, and soybean oil. So the Proven Group Limited is divided into these 5 segments. All right, you get that? So we're going to go further now and show you now what was the financial outcome for these 5 segments of Proven Group, so you can understand why poor Bunting is so touchy these days. So here again is 2024 March 31, and we're only going to look at the segment that says share of profit of associates. And if you look across where you see it highlighted, the second item from the bottom, it says $15.6 million. That's for the group. So remember last year it was 1.2 million. Remember it was adjusted down from 8 million to 1.2 million, the share of profits from the associates. Well, it is now up, way up from 1.2 million to 15.6 million. Excellent, isn't it? All right. Now, here is a breakout. For the wealth management segment, it contributed 14.9 million US out of that 15.6 million. Wealth management alone made a contribution. When it came to the private banking, 0. No contribution from them. Remember now that this is a share of profit of the associates. It means that when they are because this is a sort of a management, they are the group that manages the subsidiaries. They don't do any trading. They don't do any business. They just have the managers there that manage these subsidiaries to make sure that they are profitable and they are run properly according to the mission statement and the guideline that is set by the other body which is above them. And that would have been the proven management, which is where Bunting and the others sit. And they are the ones who would go around and negotiate and buy new assets and sell assets and do all those things for the entire group. So they are the top. You have the proven group in the middle, and they are the ones that manage the subsidiaries. And that is headed by Chris Williams, if I recall. So they're not out there earning not doing any business. So they have to charge these various subsidiaries then what I suspect, I don't know what they call it, but it's like a management fee, so that they can now, create what they would call it now, financials for their segment of the business, right? And there they would have their costs, and they have balance sheet for them as well. And what they would show is whether or not they're actually making a profit. So every segment of a business has what I believe they call a profit center. You understand? So Proven Management Limited, they have a profit center. They have overheads, they have staff, they have those directors that are making the decisions, they have to be paid. And they now would charge a sort of a management fee to those subsidiaries as well, right? So you'd have them charging a management fee, a certain percentage of the profits, and Proven Group, which is the group now that manages those subsidiaries, they would have a management fee also that they charge from the profits of these entities that is actually out there doing the work to bring the money in to the group. I don't know if you understand, but that's my understanding of how the business would work, the way it is structured. So this wealth management segment alone brought in 14.9 million US out of that 15.6. The banking segment now brought in none. And since it's a share of profit, it would suggest that either they waive the fees that they charged, assuming that the private banking made a profit, they may have waived the fees or deferred the fees, or maybe the private banking did not make the threshold, if they set a threshold, and on that threshold is what they base their fees on, they did not make that threshold. That's why you see it blank here. So none of the contribution came from the private banking. So it's either that they never made a profit, or they decided to waive whatever profit, because the one in St. Lucia, they've had for a while, but certainly the one in Cayman, they just bought it, I think, last year or the year before. So they could have made that decision. But whatever it is, no contribution from the share of profit came in from the private banking. When it comes now to the retail lending segment, they got only $626,000 from that segment, coming out of the $15.6 million that they got. The real estate, which is proven real estate, they got zilch, and that has been around for quite a while, building structures and so on. And it would imply also that either they waived their fees, or this entity did not make any profits for them to charge their fees on. Same thing with the bank. Maybe they did not make a profit for them to charge their fees on. That's also another possibility. But for the production and distribution now, those two companies that are in the manufacture of dog food and so on, and feed, they contributed only $114,000. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've covered the 5. So when you add that up, all three, they make up the 15.6 million. Let's look now to see what note 14 says is the wealth management segment, the private banking, retail lending, distribution, and real estate and others. Let's see what they're saying that is. I did tell you before, but let's confirm it. You know, you like to see the thing in black and white, and I like to show you in black and white. Now, during the last financial year, which ended March 31, 2024, Proven made some investments into these entities, right? It says investment in subsidiaries. It says in A, Proven Holdings Limited, during the financial year, capital injection of 2.6 million cash was made in Proven Holdings Limited. Proven Properties Limited, formerly Real Estate Limited, during the financial year, capital injection of 1.8 million was cash was made in Proven Properties Limited, and they're saying that in 2023 they made also a cash injection of 3.7 million in Proven Properties. So they are putting money in to these entities. And as it said before in Proven Holdings Limited, right? In 2023 they had put 2.7 million in that, and 2024 they injected another 2.6 million. When it comes to Proven Wealth in Barbados, during the financial year, capital injection of 2.1 million cash was made in Proven Wealth Barbados Limited. So this is exacerbating the problem of having spent all this money. How much are they getting back in terms of the profit? Let us have a look now at the breakout as to what was meant before in terms of the profits that were coming from the subsidiaries, the share of profit, that is. So there were other things said. I don't have a clue what they're talking about, impairment and all them something there. So me going to leave that for now. But we're looking specifically at the underlined section, the group's share of profit comprises, right? And remember, we were talking about that 15.6 million. Here is what they say the breakout is. Where it says the management segment, this is referring to JMMB Group Limited. As you can see, it was JMMB Group Limited which contributed $14.9 million US in 2024, and in 2023 762, right? So it's a significant jump in terms of what they were able to contribute to the share of profit coming from the subsidiaries. Access Financial Services Limited was the one that contributed the 626 up from 470, and the others, all of the others, right? Apparently, the private banking and the companies, the manufacturing companies and the real estate, all of them put together, according to this, contributed only $114,000 US. So them not making money. This seems to be suggesting, unless they made a profit and the management decide that they're going to defer. No, but I don't think so. I think they're not making any money. So when you see Bunting is so touchy, when you see him on the platform talking a whole heap of things that not making any sense, you can understand where he's coming from. The man has troubles, right? A great portion of his wealth that he got from DB&G is tied up in this business. And aside from the timely investment, it was an excellent investment as it turned out in JMB Group Limited. Had they not made that investment for the second year in a row, they would be down in the dumps. Remember now, they are depending on these entities that are out there making the money. These are the ones that are trading and doing business in order for them to be able to produce profits for their particular profit centers. The Proven Management Limited as well as the Proven Group Limited. You follow what I'm saying? So there is something very, very wrong with Proven. But if you think you're hearing nothing, listen to this. This financial analysis was done by a website called Simply Wall Street. They do a lot of analysis for the shares all over the world. And persons repair to them when they are seeking to invest or look for good deals. They come to companies like these or websites like these that provide financial information about the companies that they are assessing, right there where the people can read and hear what their comments are, whether they give the company a thumbs up or what they have to say, and then they can make a very quick decision rather than they having to go and do the analysis themselves. And this financial report was dated the 30th of July 2024. That's Tuesday gone, right? And here it reads, investor sentiment deteriorates as stock falls 21%. After last week's 21% share price decline to $15.55, the stock trades at a trailing price per earnings, I think this is what is, PE, price per earnings ratio of 6.5 times. And what they're saying is that the average trailing price per earning is 15 times in the capital markets industry in Jamaica. So you see they're not doing so well. Total loss to shareholders of 52% over the past 3 years. Shares go up and down. But for the past 3 years of the ups and downs of the shares, the shareholders have lost 52%, more than half, right? And this is very worrying and must be very worrying to all the shareholders, especially the big ones like Bunting and Mark and, Berita Investments and some others. But of all the issues that Bunting and others like Mark and their fellow investors may have, this must be the worrying thing that is being seen and exposed to the world of investors who may be on this site. I am sure the other sites would have the same thing. Now, I'm not vouching for the accuracy, but as I said before, this is what the investors would be looking at when they go on these sites to determine where they are to go. I mean, everybody's looking for a deal where they can make a killing. Nothing wrong with that. That's how business is. And so they'll be looking to see whether or not they should come to Jamaica, and then we'll go down the list of companies that are on the stock exchange and look for them individually. And this is what they would have seen about Proven if they were mindful to invest, right? It says share price. That means the price of the share, that $15.55 Jamaican versus the fair value. The fair value. Now it says, it's very fine print. Let me read it for you. It says, what is the fair price of proven Jamaica when looking at its future cash flows? Let me read that again. What is the fair price of proven JA when looking at the future cash flows? So it's a comparison. It says for this estimate, we use a discounted cash flow model. So they use a particular model, right? And they're using this particular model not only for proven, but for the other companies' shares that they're analyzing, okay? So it says here, they're analyzing, what they're trying to do is determine whether or not the share price of $15.55, what is being sold on the market, if that is an overvaluation of the stock or an undervaluation. And investors want to know that because, if it's understated, then there's room for improvement. If it's overstated, then they will determine whether or not they should invest. So it says here that the current share price value, as at the 30th of July, it was $15.55 per share, ordinary share. That was what they last sold for. And when they calculate the shares that were issued, I do believe is what they did, the shares that were issued, they arrive at the fair value. The fair value of each share, which is determined by the financial position of the company, not just its profitability, but in terms of its debt that it owes, whether or not the debt that is owed payment or repayment or the interest on it is covered by the revenue and them kind of something there. So they do that complete analysis and they have determined, right, that the fair market value of proven ordinary share, the proven's ordinary share, is 11 cents Jamaican. You heard what I just said? These guys have done their analysis of the proven's financial statements that is published. And they have concluded that the fair market price for each proven ordinary share is 11 Jamaican cents. Yes, how much sweet that can buy? That can buy cement nowadays. Can buy maybe one ice cement. The share for proven, according to them, is 14,110.7% overvalued. That is what they said the fair value is. And what is it trading for? $15.55. $15.55. That's what people are buying an 11-cent share for. 14,000% overvalued. And you wonder how it is that this came about. How were people convinced? How were people convinced that this 11-cent share is worth $15.55? How? Nobody, none of these, and I imagine some of these shares are held by financial institutions, probably pension fund. These are the ones who normally buy up these shares, right? So how were they able to convince the Jamaican people and people of foreign, because they're the major shareholder, I think they have something like 42 million shares. It's a company from the United Arab Emirates. Looking and seeing how crazy Jamaican investors are. If you're going to take up so much money, so much dollars, I buy an 11-cent share. Right? And said this is a place to come and make money because these people don't know what the hell they are doing. So when you guys asked me to do an look into FinSac, I already know what the situation is with FinSac, It is the same madness and idiocy of people with money, right? Don't look into anything. They don't look and analyze anything. Them take them money, then good money where they work hard for, and fling upon these pan a company like Proven. $15.55. And the share price went up to $18 something the day after. Now, you see a share selling at $15.55, right? One would expect that you have common sense, your money spending, maybe people's money is spending too. That you see that the shares for this company has fallen 52%. And in the past week by 21%. I mean, it comes down and it goes up. But in the past week, you see it's being reported that the shares fell 21%. And they are not short of information, And you see the share gone down to $15.55 the day before, and you turn up the following day, gone buy the shares for $18.42. Why would you do that? Somebody's offering their shares in Proven for 6,030 shares they were offering for sale. And you see that the shares sold for $15.55 the day before, and you buy it from somebody, 6,000 of it for $18. Why you do that? So immediately I wondered to myself, hold on, this not look right. I wonder if it's somebody trying something, somebody trying to make the share go up. So I decided to do some research in share price manipulations. Right? Is this somebody who is trying to get people to believe that there is confidence in the share of Proven? Put out 6,000 shares and then buy it back from themselves, perhaps run another company at $18, hoping that when the other investors see this, they then run now and decide that what they're going to do is sell their shares, right? And then they're going to find that and get knocked because nobody not going to buy it for the $18. However, today, or when was it now? Wednesday, another number of stocks went out, shares, and it was bought again for $18.14, I believe. They lost just a few. Could be the same thing. So I went and I looked it up, and I see where and how manipulations can go on with shares to either bring the price up for those who want to benefit from it, or if they want to bring down somebody else's, like an enemy's share, they bid low for the shares and sell them low. So they have the shares, right? And then just sell the shares and buy it back at a low price from themselves, which then causes a panic, and then they're able to buy up the other people's share at a lower price, right? Those are manipulations. So I went and I looked, and I went back from last year looking at the selling and the buying of the shares. And I saw where in February of this year, I saw where there was a flurry of events where the shares were being sold, including about 1 million, I think, on election day, or 3 million on election day. But for the most part, it's some 15,000, 4,000, 3,000, and the share was going up and down. So there is no evidence at all that anybody is manipulating. I mean, I couldn't see where I noticed anything. I can't say I noticed anything that it looked like somebody might be manipulating the shares. However, I would say to Peter Bunting, you need to look into these, watch your shares, watch them. Because this particular one, no look right. This don't make no sense. You say somebody sell 6,000 shares and you go buy it for $18 when the day before it sold for $15.55 and it was at the bottom of a 21% decline. How that for make sense? Especially when you look at the financials of the company, you ought to know that the shares are valued at 11 Jamaican cents each. So I would say to Mr. Bunting, Proven can get into some very serious trouble, if some perhaps well-meaning person, I mean, if you guys are not the ones doing it, if you are not the one, you're not doing it, right? maybe some well-meaning person think they might try something to make the share price go up and stimulate sales, your company can get into trouble. You need to look into it and make sure that that is not what is happening. You understand? Also, it could be an enemy that could be doing it. Somebody trying to bring you down. You need to make sure, say, look at these things, study how the shares are being bought and sold. I'm funny looking something at this particular one here. Look away, Peter, look away. You see, had other persons sold their shares, I guess it would have been an average and nobody would have seen it. But nobody else sold, apparently. Just this person. And so it is clear that something not quite right about this particular transaction. It just don't make no sense. Look into it, because if you're not doing it and it's not a well-meaning person, Peter, it could well be an enemy. I'll try to get you guys into trouble. And you know what kind of trouble you can get into if you're accused, your company is accused, or anybody in it is accused of manipulating share prices. So I suggest you do some investigations just to make sure, that's not what is happening. So you notice that Bunting, as I said, is very testy. That move in the parliament was just sudden, as we would say in Jamaica, and just get ignorant and get up and walk out and cuss off the people. And he has been doing that for quite a number of days. The situation with Mark is not helpful, because Mark went and mucked up the whole thing by having a British passport, not relinquishing that passport before he was elected to Parliament. Muck up the whole thing. And Bunting knows it's only a matter of time before somebody carry Mark to court. And then that Dolly House will be over. That's $650 million and all of his efforts, him and Mark's efforts to control the PNP and see if they could hoodwink the rest of you and me, I suppose, to put them in Jamaica House. And despite the fact that they see that it's going nowhere, they're not going to give up. They spend too much. So they're trying their best. And now, it's end of the road. It's the end of the doggone road. Mark has put himself in a position of no return. He is now in a position of no return. And only the government can save him. Anyway, my peeps, my subscribers, my viewers, see with Bunting, the man have a lot of problems. Lots of problems. So bear with him. No kill him too much, not kill him too much. Although I will be the first to admit that him deserve every beating that he's getting, because him too wicked. No lie, man wicked bad. I mean, who else but an evil person will come and foist this man upon the Jamaican people? A man who obviously has mental issues. Who does that but a cruel and evil person? So when Karen Cross came and told us that the decision was made because of how Mark was carrying himself, right? That Angela Brownberg would have taken charge of him. And that Angela was calling him in the morning, asking him if he be ready, if he put on and what clothes him should wear, and go through with him as to the clothes him have and what clothes him should wear in the morning. You see what it is now? They know that this man is a sick man. They know him sick. He has a mental problem, and they know he has a mental problem. But them done shove him out there already, so them have to make do with what they have. So Angela is put in charge of him, telling him what to wear. And apparently, somebody make a mess up. Somebody mess up somewhere and forgot to call him and tell him what to wear. And him end up at the big function. In a dirty jeans. Look like he never bathed from morning. Here all looks... Lord have mercy, me didn't want to talk about it. But with all of that, I suppose maybe little Jamaica want to make a name for itself. The first in the world, perhaps in the history of mankind, to choose to put. I mean, others have been there and them get mad. But no, we see the man sick. But being an equal opportunity country and an equal opportunity party, the People's National Party is looking to put this mentally disordered man in charge of our affairs. We already have a man who is visually impaired in our Senate. Congratulations to the People's National Party. And now we want to put a man who appears to be mentally challenged to run the country. And I suppose we should be thankful to them for that. They need to move the man. They need to move him. And if they don't move him, somebody else is going to move him. And we are in this beautiful and wonderful chance created by himself to have him removed. And hopefully somebody will get him out there. It is not fair to the people, Bunting. It is not fair that you have this man who is obviously mentally disordered. You try to put him in a Jamaica house with do what? Where you put him in a Jamaica house with do? You know, see, you're a special kind of evil, Peter Bunting. As Natalie has always been telling us. Anyway, thank you for joining me, keeping me company as usual. Like the video, subscribe please, share, and leave your comments and let me know what you think about all these happenings with Bunting and his crossness on the political platform in the Senate, him just going around the place and crabbing people all over the place like him is some banshee queen. So take good care of yourself. Until next time, walk good.